I am Slick Nick, the living legend. Where did I come from? My dad. And so I want to make this video to point out something I think that's pretty remarkable. You've been at the same company since 1979?
Yes.
And we're now in 2019, so 40. Well, actually, what month did you start there?
In November, so it make 40 years in November.
Okay, so that's a long time at the same company. I mean, I worked at the same company for 12 years, and then they basically shut down. But you were how old when you started?
Well, I guess I was about 21, 22.
22, and now you're 61.
I am 62.
60, okay, 62. So nearly 4 decades of your life has been at the same place, and they're still in business, and like nothing changed there. Whereas that didn't work out for me, it did work out for you. You never hear that anymore, like that someone could stay at the same place for that long, and pretty much all of their adult working life is at the same place.
Yeah.
Which you coincidentally are wearing the shirt. It's funny because when I do videos with my parents, they don't even know what we're like. 10 seconds before the video, he's like, "What's this video about?" Like that's how we do videos, because I think it's very important to capture the natural conversation when I do videos with people. So you just happen to be wearing the shirt for Game Time where you work,
yes.
But go ahead and explain what Game Time does.
Game Time is one of, I guess, the largest manufacturer of playground equipment, slides, swings, anything for playground, and also park benches, picnic tables, and yeah, there's just so much. But anything to do with park playgrounds, Game Time does it.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I kind of throughout my life have made a kind of a game of it. Like if you end up going to a park or at a playground, you look to see, is this a Game Time equipment? And I got to the point where I can basically just look at it and know if it's Game Time, their style of it. But so much that you see at parks came from Game Time.
Yeah.
So what I think will be interesting is explain what you did in 1979 versus what you do now. Kind of the way you've climbed the ladder there over the years.
Okay.
Where you started versus where you are now. And you're retiring in what, a year from now?
Hopefully, yeah.
April 2020 is when you're planning to retire, is that right?
Hopefully, yes.
So, yeah, but go ahead and explain that process, that journey.
Well, first started I hired in as a welder. We did the MIG welding. We welded, it's basically pipe and metal things that for the basic playgrounds. Of course, 40 years ago was a lot different from what we make now.
Did you already know how to weld? Did they send you to some kind of tech school?
No, I could weld before. I went to a tech school, a welding tech school, and learned how to weld. I actually welded at a place that welded joist for big buildings, the ceilings, the big metal joist. That's actually where I started welding.
Was that Valley Joist?
That was Valley Joist.
Okay. We're from Fort Payne, Alabama, so these places are, if you've ever heard of that town, you may have only heard of it from me, but that's where we're from.
Yeah.
So, and that place is still in business too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you made the move from Valley Joist to
Yeah.
Game Time. They, I guess, offering better pay or something.
Yeah,
at the
better
time.
pay, better. Everything was better for that time. Yeah.
And Game Time opened in '79, right?
Right. They actually
Like-
moved down from Michigan. They went and started business in 1925.
Man.
So they've been in business that long, but now they moved to Fort Payne. I think to get away from unions and higher pay, of course.
And it's funny because like even in my own lifetime, I've seen how foreign car companies have moved down here to Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, probably from what I understand, largely to avoid unions.
Yes, unions
So-
and lower pay scale.
Yeah, because like what is it, BMW and Mercedes that are in Alabama,
Uh-huh.
and then of course Volkswagen, Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And then in Tennessee, where I actually live, they have the GM place actually in the town that I am in. So,
And Nissan in Murfreesboro.
oh yeah, they got like the big corporate plant just outside of my office. I can almost see the Nissan building. So these are companies that were foreign car companies 30 years ago, but now they're based in the South, almost ironically to avoid unions, because in the South unions are unpopular.
Yeah.
Okay, so you made the switch over to Game Time. They were a brand new company, and you were 22.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, I welded there for approximately, I think 11 years, and then I was able to transfer into the quality department. And after 2 years there, I became the quality supervisor, which is what I'm doing now, but it's more than when I started, because now I'm over testing anything that spins, moves in any way, up and down, around and around, sideways, whatever. I have to test it, so I have to. They call me MacGyver because I just have a simple test machine, and I make it do everything. And so that's what I do now. I just mainly test these things, see how long they're going to last. Once it gets in the field, everything's got to go approximately 1 million cycles is what we shoot for. Anything that's moving.
And it's funny because over the years, when I have went to where my dad works, I go to his office, and then like right outside his office, it's like, I don't know what to call it, but it's kind of just this patio in between buildings, and that's the testing space.
Yeah.
And it's just laughable because you'll see this random like piece of plastic like either rotating just constantly, and I'm like, how long has that been doing that? And you're like, a couple of weeks now or whatever, however many it gets to 1 million. And there was another time you had this contraption that like simulates like years of sunlight on playground equipment.
Yeah.
And it was like baking it to simulate like 20 years in the sun or something.
Yeah, we have that QUV machine.
But you largely you make up some of this stuff. Like you come up with these contraptions to do this. Like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like it's just interesting that for a worldwide playground equipment company, like they just put you in charge of like experimenting with like,
yeah.
Okay, this is the best way. We can't wait 20 years in the sun, so this is going to simulate that.
Yeah.
Or 20 years of kids playing on whatever the swing is or whatever the device is. You've done that also with the springs where the kids get on the thing and then they go back and forth like that,
spring
right?
ladders, yeah.
Because how do you test those? You have to put some kind of weight on it or something to.
Yeah, actually, I usually put on it, whatever goes on, if it's a little animal, whatever, and I'll weight it down to the 95th percentile of the child's weight, which would be about 125 pounds for a 12-year-old.
Man.
And I'll just, if it rocks, I'll have my machine just rock it back and forth. And if it swings, I got it something that will make it swing. If it spins, it makes it spin. Just whatever. They say, here it is, test it, and you come up with everything. So that's the way that works.
And it's funny because I'm very aware of the fact that whereas my dad is MacGyver, I don't know anybody else in my life who can fix it. I mean, the house that I lived in high school. There's a lot of our house. We moved in when I was starting high school, but a lot of that house you basically built and overlooked and all that. Like, and then the cars. I mean, you've got an MG here that you've got the Ford Falcon over there. Like, you know how to do all this stuff, and I don't. Like, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I guess we all have different intelligence like modalities that we're specifically good at one thing. Our brain works a certain way, and my brain is the opposite of knowing how to fix stuff if I don't know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. But that's your intelligence. Like, you know how to do all that, and I just think that's amazing. And I would love to think that I had those same skills. You would think if anybody would be good at that, it'd be me, because I grew up here, but I'm not. So that's one of the reasons I want to make this video, just because I think it is fascinating. Like, that my dad has all of that in his head, and you can figure out anything. So yeah, that is just amazing though, that you've been at the same place for 40 years. You're planning to retire there in a year, and that. Oh yeah, and then also too with Game Time, we went to Trinidad back in 2002. Because every year, was it once a year, they go to a foreign country and they donate the playground and the workers to set it up. Yeah.
It was actually a organization called Kids Around the World that did it. They bought the playgrounds from Game Time, and they usually wanted a representative, someone to go in case there was some trouble, because they were so far away and it would be harder to get a replacement part or whatever. So they wanted someone that had the knowledge of being there and how to fix the things.
And so it just so happened in 2002, I was in college, so I didn't have like necessarily a real job where it really mattered that much. So we were there for, I guess, maybe 10 days or 9 days or something.
Yeah.
helped put that up in Trinidad. I guess they've been to a place every. You haven't gone back to a different country up through that.
Yeah, also went to one in Jamaica.
Oh, really?
2012.
Did I really forget that, man? I still had a young kid for the first time at that time. I don't remember much from probably 2012. But you went to Jamaica?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen pictures of this.
Yeah, Jamaica.
All right. Well, I think that's very interesting. For me, this is what this channel is about. I want conversations to take place that wouldn't normally happen if you weren't pressing record. I want to have different people on my channel and not just me talking. I think it's very interesting to learn the stories of other people. So thanks for watching our channel. Thanks for my dad. This is only one of many videos you're going to be in today. So every time you see that shirt and this shirt, oh yeah, that was filmed that same rainy day where they opened up the garage door and used the sunlight and you hear the rain in the background. So you got comments, you got questions, you know where they belong. Right here.